Synchronicity is always working. It is always being what it is. If we are in harmony with this idea that synchronicity is taking place and live within the concept with integrity, that means integrated. Integrity means integrated, interlocking, interwoven. If we live in harmony with this idea that everything is happening as it should happen, then we can use that law, the fact that everything is taking place the way it should, not to really get bent out of shape when things don't happen the way we want them to. The problem with us living as we do is we want to impose our limited knowledge and belief system into the way the universe works. So if something doesn't work the way we want it to, then we get upset. Well, let me show you how synchronicity works. Since I believe that everything is happening as it should happen, I don't get upset about what happens. Why? Because it should be happening that way. So my relationship to synchronicity is I can decide what part of me I want to show up in the creation of the universe. That means if I decide I want to be upset because something happened I didn't like, I can get upset. I have that choice. But what does that do with the rest of my synchronicity? Well, it throws the rest of my day out of balance. Why? Because my negative attitude that I project onto an idea that had no particular inference to me, and I chose to look at it negatively, now produces negative synchronicity. So now, when that synchronicity continues throughout my day, I find out my whole day is screwed up. Why? I screwed it up by looking at it and perceive that incident to be bad, not good, not in my favor, not of my liking, not to my choosing. But the truth is, if you are a part of this existence and the universe, you being here is part of the synchronicity. You are a part of what's taking place. Now, because something is happening, synchronicity behind my back, a bird, another leaf falling, an animal passing by, that may not have a direct influence on me at that moment. But it may be important to someone else passing by, to another insect, another bug, another dog. You understand? I'm not the center of the universe. I am the center of my created universe, not the universe. So things are happening all around me that I may not like. People get upset because it rains. I love it as much as when it's sunshine. I have nothing to do with it. But I have a choice in how I perceive what is taking place. I can choose how I want to be in that situation. Do I want to be understanding, loving, caring, compassionate, kind, generous, or do I want to be upset, angry, frustrated, disappointed? I can choose those expressions. But my choosing them allows those expressions to be now a part of my created synchronicity. But my power comes from in my interpreting and my choosing how I want to react to what's taking place. I don't have a car. I often go to town on a motorcycle. Sometimes I think it's going to rain. Sometimes it rains. I love it either way. I come home soaking wet. So what? My clothes are wet. What's the big deal? I can choose how I want to perceive that situation. Could I get mad about it? Many people would. I choose not to. When I go to town, now you've heard this. Try this. It works. I go to town. If I want a parking space for my motorcycle, trust me, I create it in the universe. I create it that the right timing, that when I get there, the parking space I want at the front door is always available to me. That the more you are in line with synchronicity and the more you act upon it, first of all, everything is synchronicity. But if you act upon it with integrity, that means with trust, that you're integrated with the idea that everything is happening as it should happen, when you come into that idea and you look at things that way, then they will produce more synchronicity for you. It'll continue that idea. But understand also, there is a reality called negative synchronicity. That means your perception of what is taking place, you can influence by the way you think, feel, and act and believe about it. So if you choose to believe it's something you don't like, it's bad, it's not good, you don't like it, if this is what you believe it means to you when something happens, understand that you will continually produce negative feelings about that expression, and you may continue to have a negative experience for the rest of the day. Now there's another thing in nature called natural, effortless, and abundance. And it's a very simple law. And that is simply that if I act in harmony with what is natural or nature or natural within myself, if I am natural, then I will produce effortlessness. In other words, let's say martial arts training or anything else. If I go into the martial arts training with the idea that I love it, that this is something I truly want to express myself as being and doing. So if I go into it with that idea and I have this passion for it, my attraction to it, or it to me, is that I'm going to do it well. Why? Because I like it. We all do things well that we like. We all don't do things well we don't like or don't appreciate. So if somebody asks us, you want to try this? Nah, I'm not good at that. Or I'm not mechanically inclined, or I'm not this, I'm not that. And I say, well, how do you know? You've never tried it. Oh, my parents said I wasn't good at that. My friends, my teachers, they told me I'm not inclined to be that. So I must not be good. Why? Everybody says so. Oh, you don't have to believe everybody. You can try it for yourself. So this idea about being natural is once you do something natural, it becomes effortless. Why? Because that is the natural expression of who you are. So you will do it effortlessly. And when you do something effortlessly, you will create this idea called abundance. That means because it's natural and you express it effortlessly, you will pull and attract into your life all the situations and circumstances that will allow you to continue the expression in that way, in loving it, in having a passion, exciting. That's something you really want to do, you look forward to. You can't wait for the next opportunity. That is the way life is. And that expression is what you actually create. You are creating your life anyway. Even if you decide to sit here and do zip, nothing, you're creating that. So the results of that is you're going to produce nothing because you're doing nothing. So don't be surprised and walk around and go, yeah, why is my life worth this? Nothing ever happens to me.